Ladies and gentlemen, be ready because what you're going to hear will not only disrupt the internet, but completely destroy it. Face flushed. Consider the man who centered his entire business on respect, family, and loyalty. Suddenly finding out the woman he's been defending for decades might have been living a parallel life. And the mastermind behind it all is Floyd Pretty Boy Mayweather, the unbeaten money king. Yes, exactly. Now, an image so outrageous that even Hollywood wouldn't dare write it has been created by leaked conversations, rediscovered photos, and whispered confessions from those who were present. What if I told you that Floyd Mayweather and Tiny Harris, the so-called ride or die of T.I., had a long-running covert connection backstage? It was described as harmless flirting. Some claimed that T was merely envious. However, the truth may suddenly be even darker because Floyd explicitly admitted, according to claimed insiders, rather than only flirting. According to NTI sources, he passed out after learning the truth. So fasten your seatbelts because we're going to rip through the history, the rumors, the altercations, and the treachery that rocked hip-hop's royal family to its foundation tonight. Tiny Harris was seen standing little too close to Floyd Mayweather in a fuzzy photo taken at an event in Vegas, and that was the beginning of it all. Fans initially dismissed it. It's just a friendly moment, they stated. Years later, however, the same picture reappeared with the remark, "It was never just business," and the internet went crazy. Since it was no longer about an image, it has to do with what that image conveyed. You see, Ty was skeptical even then. He had been listening to rumors, late-night calls, covert travel, messages that were erased more quickly than they could be read. Tiny, however, maintained her poker expression. She would shrug, smile, and ask, "Floyd? He's only a friend, I see." One of the wealthiest, most well-known, and most controversial persons on the planet was also a friend. It was well known that T and Floyd were at odds. Remember that epic brawl in Vegas? The one outside Fatburger where Mayweather yelled, "Control your woman?" as chairs flew and security was dispersed. Yes, it wasn't just a fit of wrath. That was in the past. 10 years of undisclosed truths, ego, and jealousy ultimately came to a head. Years later, it appears that there may have been much more involved in that altercation than pride. Perhaps it had to do with a reality T wasn't prepared to confront. An alleged source, who we'll refer to as Miss L, says she saw Tiny and Floyd together at several private gatherings from 2012 to 2016. Tiny wasn't just hanging out, she said. She was talking to Floyd about it. When T stopped caring, she said that only he listened. Floyd apparently had a soft spot for women who felt little and unappreciated, who were fed up with the drama and power, and who took solace in places they shouldn't have. This is where things get insane, though. According to this new video, Floyd is seen jokingly stating, "Tiny always been mine," even when she wasn't supposed to be, during a private after-party. In the background, you could hear people laughing, but the internet didn't. That one line broke everything fans believed to be true, and it froze. Ty, according to close friends, found out about the clip days later. It was purportedly sent to him by one of his former crew members with the message, "Bro, this is what he said about your wife." According to insiders, he collapsed upon seeing it, not due to physical weakness, but rather to mental grief. Nothing is more devastating to a man who has battled his own demons, law enforcement, and rappers than being betrayed at home. Let's take a moment to go back. This was not always the case with Tiny and Ty. They were Bonnie and Clyde, the pair from hip-hop who survived allegations, reality TV, jail time, and stardom. They weathered scandals, founded enterprises, and reared children. How then could such a deep tie begin to break? According to insiders, it started when Floyd and Tiny's friendship became well known. The Fishers grew with each selfie they took and each time she went to his events. Oh, how Floyd enjoyed the attention. All he needed to boost his ego was for the champ to take your girl. Ty talked tough, but he can't control what's already gone, he allegedly said to friends. Words that are brutal but somehow credible. Because Floyd had something that no one else had beneath that self-assured smile. Get in. Tiny apparently went to Floyd's estate pretending to be in the music industry. However, reportedly leaked text conversations from her old phone point to a more serious issue. "You're the only one who makes me feel seen," one message said. "Don't let him find out," said another. Screenshots proliferate very quickly. And T.I. said nothing while fans argued over authenticity. There was a quiet that was more powerful than any diss track. In the meantime, social media investigators dug through old pictures, timestamps, and clothing, doing what they do best. They observed that on certain weekends, Tiny's ring was absent. Mayweather was throwing private parties in Miami and Los Angeles during the same weekends. Is it a coincidence? The web said, "No way." The marriage was in shambles by 2017. Ty initially filed for divorce, but later withdrew it and filed again. He placed the blame on disparate priorities, distance, and a lack of respect. Fans, however, were aware that every remark he made sounded like a man attempting to hide the fact that another man had invaded his area. Then it was Floyd himself, not Tiny or Ty, who made the revelation that broke the web. Using a phone microphone to record an off-record chat at a boxing gala, he claimed to have boasted, "I dated Tiny." T.I. simply had no idea how deep it went for years. The internet went crazy in a matter of hours after the audio leaked online. For days, hashtags like Tip Crash and Tiny and Folly were popular. It was dubbed the most egregious betrayal in hip-hop history by fans. Timelines were overrun with memes. Celebrities even weighed in on the resurfacing of old interviews. On X, an unidentified R&B singer wrote, "Everyone knew but him." "Tiny always loved the attention," said another. T.I. refused to give her what Floyd did. And T disappeared. No blogs, no appearances, no declarations. According to people close to him, he was shocked and angry, not just at Floyd, but also at Tiny for allowing things to get that bad. It gets darker here, though. According to some, this affair wasn't merely sentimental. There were fancy cars, diamond bracelets, hundreds of thousands of dollars in presents, transactions, and even rumors of a hidden condo. Floyd showed off his wealth as usual. However, he utilized it as bait this time. Tiny bit the hook, because she was desperate for autonomy and approval. However, until a picture from Floyd's former driver surfaced, no one had seen hard evidence despite all the conjecture. In the same attire she had shared on her girls' trip story, it featured Tiny getting out of his Maybach late at night in Vegas. In order to determine that the image matched the night Floyd held his private post-fight supper, internet detectives froze it, zoomed it, and compared lighting. At least enough of the jigsaw was finished to shatter the delusion of allegiance. Additionally, as the story spread like wildfire online, admirers began, how long had Ty been living a lie? I wondered. One remark under a popular clip says it best. Imagine standing up for a lady in public while she is standing up for another man behind closed doors. Aw. People love to twist things, Tiny said in an attempt to clarify the situation on social media. Floyd will always be loved by me, despite what you all believe. However, the harm was irreparable at that point. Because drama wrapped in denial is what the internet loves more than the truth. Things quickly got out of control. Headlines such as Floyd's hidden love life being revealed and Ty's emotional collapse following Mayweather's confession were published by media sites. According to some, T was admitted to the hospital due to fatigue. He was mentally crushed, according to others. Even a quote was published by one phony tabloid, purportedly from Floyd. What he has always suspected is too much for him to take. The story takes its most outrageous turn at that precise moment. Because this was more than just adultery, based on recently disclosed direct messages from a common buddy. It has to do with retaliation. Because Tiny didn't just fade when she felt mistreated and disregarded by Ty. Instead, she took revenge. Furthermore, no one anticipated the man she decided to exact revenge on. Floyd Mayweather is Ty's fiercest opponent. Because it's not always screaming matches and smashed furniture that are necessary for retaliation. Sometimes it comes with hushed gratitude and diamond wrapping. According to insiders, Tiny vanished for 3 days following a particularly heated disagreement with Ty. I'm clearing my head, she said, but months later, her phone's location history was leaked, putting her in Las Vegas, the city of temptation and the home of Floyd Mayweather, a man who thrived on the chaos of others. According to the same insiders, everything changed that weekend. One buddy admitted that she had changed when she returned. She appeared calmer and more composed, as if she had fully grasped her advantage. It was said that Floyd had said something to her that stuck. Ty must experience what it's like to lose. At that point, the entire storyline shifted from flirtation to deliberate devastation. Tiny started acting the part flawlessly, grinning on television, promoting her family show, and discussing forgiveness, all while keeping up her covert correspondence with Floyd. Messages like "can't talk" can be seen in leaked text chats. There are cameras here. Floyd's response was, "Remain composed. I'll take care of it." Handle what exactly? Fans were going bananas over that. The ring incident followed. Tiny displayed a different diamond bracelet than the one Ty had given her at one red carpet appearance. After comparing clips and zooming in, fans saw that it seemed like the same Cartier set that Floyd had given another incident. Please. when receipts start to line up. The internet doesn't believe in coincidences. T.I., meanwhile, was falling apart. He had begun addressing mutual friends, asking who knew what, and demanding names, according to people close to him. He once said, "Tell me if I'm sleeping next to a stranger," according to one producer. After a phony gossip page, which has since disappeared, posted a bogus article about a Southern rapper whose wife had a secret with a retired boxer, his paranoia increased. Ty was the only name that appeared in the remarks. The main revelation, however, came from Floyd's former aide, who spoke anonymously on a small YouTube channel. Her quotation was terrifying. They spent more time together than most people realize. She was reliable. She wasn't a fling. Floyd allegedly boasted that Tiny understood him better than anybody else, and the assistant detailed late-night visits and covert phone conversations. A brief, shaky video of Floyd's private party at his estate leaked just when it looked like the scandal could get any worse. Tiny is shown sitting close to him, laughing, and placing a hand on his shoulder just before the camera switches to the room with champagne all over it. The internet became silent while the room erupted in cacophony. Social media became a virtual courtroom for days. Of those surveyed, half said it was unquestionably her. The other half was blatantly phony. In any case, the harm had been done. Whether it was genuine or not, the thought of Tiny and Floyd together once more was enough to reignite all the wounds. Floyd, meantime, fueled the flames. Days later, when fans inquired about Tiny on a live stream, he grinned. "People are constantly concerned about what the champion is doing, man." He continued, "Let's just say some folks should have treated their women better." Mic drop. The comment section went crazy. The clip went viral in a matter of minutes. YouTube and Talk are both using the same caption. Floyd at last affirms it. Ty was at her breaking point. He immediately uploaded a mysterious message on the internet. Fame doesn't equate to loyalty. There were no names or tags, but everyone recognized the post as being from the hip-hop community. And Tiny said nothing while admirers analyzed every word. Too silent. Some claimed that she was secretly negotiating peace. Others asserted that she was afraid of what would emerge next, not of Ty. Because there were pictures, one unnamed industry source claimed. Even Floyd's crew wanted the compromising photographs to be buried. According to reports, the purported photos were taken over a boxing weekend in 2015. Little in gold, seated in the front row next to Floyd's group without any protection from one another. They were threatened to be sold to tabloids by the guy who claimed to have them. And all references to those pictures vanished in a day. Money speaks. Floyd possessed aplenty of it. However, money could not conceal the repercussions. Sponsors withdrew their support from T.I. Chinese public relations efforts. The lineup of shows on VH1 was being reassessed. The scandal had evolved beyond just rumors. It was a business disaster, and a new theory began to circulate as all of that pandemonium played out. One so crazy that it was practically predetermined. Floyd allegedly had no intention of revealing anything. After he fired 2 close colleagues, his crew leaked the recording in retaliation. According to reports, one of them is resentful over unpaid bonuses, sold vintage video and audio clips, and one of them featured Floyd jokingly stating, "Tiny always been mine." After being edited and given a caption, that identical clip ended up being the headline that broke T's piece. It was already too late when he recognized what was going on. The story has already been twisted by the media. Ty's wife is taken by Floyd. Ty disappeared once more at that point. This time it's survival, not silence. Friends report that in an effort to restore his dignity, he began traveling alone, avoiding interviews, and concentrating on his children. He was cited by one buddy as stating, "You can fight a man, not a memory." For weeks, the sentence became the most popular depressing quote on the internet after going viral and becoming merchandise. Then claiming to be the insider, an anonymous podcast guest stated that she had seen Tiny and Floyd together as recently as 2019 following their marriage. Reconciliation. "It wasn't a one-time mistake," she said. "It was a deal." She doubled down when the host attempted to clarify. For years, Tiny and Floyd were not together. Ty was the only one who didn't know. Once more, social media was rocked by the revelation. Tiny's reaction was demanded. "Believe what you want," she wrote in a single Instagram story. "I have no obligation to explain myself." There was stillness that shouted louder than any words, neither confirmation nor denial. Floyd, meanwhile, kept doing what he does best, flexing and sharing videos of himself with ladies, cars, and watches as if nothing had occurred. but a minor pattern caught the attention of keen-eyed enthusiasts. Background selections of music reminiscent of Tiny's vintage studio tunes. Petty genius or coincidence? Do you know Floyd? Most likely both. The psychological game started at that point. Ty began to be tagged by fans in every video, post, and lyric that alluded to treachery. "Imagine your rival using your wife's lyrics as background music," read one of the hot tweets. Utterly wicked. Even celebrities were unable to avoid it as the pressure increased. Known for making fun of Mayweather, 50 Cent chimed in and said, "Champ won again, messing with another man's house." "Ty better drop a track, not tears," he continued. Overnight, the comment received 1 million likes. According to insiders, T did visit the studio that week. The tune, which he originally titled Silence of Loyalty, was raw, emotional, and unreleased. It's described as a lyrical cleanse that addresses treachery without mentioning names. But he shelved it after listening to the last mix. Perhaps it was too real, too painful, or perhaps he realized that every remark aimed at Tiny and Floyd would be known to the world because the moment had already passed. Still, all that was left was a shattered marriage and a damaged ego behind the cameras and the celebrity. According to family members, Tiny made several attempts to get in touch, but each time it ended in the same way. Cold text responses, unanswered calls, and one eerie voicemail from T.I. that read, "You picked a fight I can't win." More than anything else, that line encapsulated the entire tragedy because it's extremely difficult to overcome a fighter like Floyd Mayweather, who is unbeaten not only in the ring, but also in the art of humiliation. The most absurd thing is that Floyd wasn't finished speaking, because he alluded to having evidence, receipts, texts, and private memories he had preserved for insurance just as the internet was starting to calm down. The scandal was rekindled by that tease alone, which paved the way for the most heinous turn of events yet. Because when the so-called proof came to light in the following act, it was filthy, darker, and much more intimate than anyone could have ever guessed. Then it took place. The leak nobody anticipated. Suddenly, voicemails, screenshots, and one terrifying video clip began to circulate on gossip blogs. The Mayweather Files is the title. Floyd didn't post it himself, but it was clear from the editing, the angles, and the detail that it wasn't shared by a stranger. Access was in the hands of someone close. Floyd said nonchalantly in the opening of the video, "I don't talk about my wins," while standing in his enormous walk-in closet. "I display M." He then pulled up his phone and scrolled, revealing a saved contact with the label Tiny Kiss Mark for a brief moment. The internet was broken in that 1 second. The video was widely circulated in a matter of hours. Twitter, TikTok, sports blogs, and gossip channels. People zoomed in, froze the image, and noticed what appeared to be a tiny heart emoji next to Tiny's name. Too personal a detail to ignore. All of the past half-truths and denials now made sense. It was no longer merely a rumor. It was a snapshot of history. One purported witness claims that T.I. viewed the video in midair. He was quiet for an hour. According to another, he muttered, "I knew it." As soon as he touched down, that silence became anger. Ty was tired of being composed despite his team's best efforts to keep him in check and urge him not to respond in public. Insiders say he contacted Tiny immediately and demanded the facts, calling it the ultimate humiliation. What happened next? Was harsh based on text messages that were leaked? Allegedly, the two exchanged messages that resembled the plot of a heartbroken film. "You were aware of your actions. T.I. sent me a text that read, 'You ignored me for him.' Tiny's response, 'You broke up with me a long time before he did.'" Like wildfire, that one line spread. Fans labeled it the sentence that ended a marriage, screenshotted it, and imitated it. Floyd, meanwhile, sat back grinning like a soap opera villain. "I don't steal women," he stated in an Instagram video that appeared to be more of a flexing session than an explanation. "They voluntarily come to the champ." Hip-hop was rocked by that single quote. Comments poured in, with some praising his candor and others labeling him the most rude person on the planet. The most absurd aspect, though, was Floyd's suggestion that he wasn't finished yet. He smirked at the camera and remarked, "There's more history y'all ain't ready for." The smirk was what shattered what little tranquility T still possessed. There were rumors that T had contacted attorneys for emotional and defamatory damages, rather than divorce. But beneath those legal rumors lay a man who was just broken. Small battled her own storm in the meantime. She began to lose partnerships for her brand. Former friends discreetly unfollowed her, and interview offers stopped coming in. Public opinion had already made its voice heard. People didn't care about subtleties. They had already taken sides and desired villains and victims. Subsequently, the incident escalated into a public outburst. In Atlanta, T.I. was supposed to play a surprise set at a charity event. He abruptly stopped in the middle of the song, dropped the microphone, and left the stage. According to witnesses, he appeared pallid and aloof, as if his body had appeared but his soul had not. Word got out a few minutes later that he had passed out backstage. Nobody was really sure if it was sadness, stress, or tiredness, but the picture of Ty being lifted off the ground while surrounded by flashing that night, lights and anxious faces made headlines. And Floyd didn't even flinch. He shared a picture the next day along with the statement, "Real ones never fall." The internet went crazy. He was accused in comments of making fun of T's collapse. Some claimed it was a coincidence. Whether it was a coincidence or not, Floyd was well aware of his actions and everyone knew it. Even famous people began taking sides at this time. 50 Cent interrupted once more, making fun of Floyd for being rushed and petty. T.I. didn't deserve that, Boosie stated live. The biggest twist, however, was when a common friend, a member of the Old Family Hustle crew, came forth and said Tiny had previously acknowledged that it wasn't meant to go this far. That source claimed that she had planned to emotionally harm rather than destroy Ty. Things took a turn for the worse after Mayweather became engaged. It was rumored Floyd possessed handwritten messages, private images, receipts, and even a voice memo purportedly featuring Tiny laughing and stating, "He'll never find out." Those rumors, whether true or not, were sufficient to put an end to any possibility of reconciliation. The story had progressed from an affair to full-fledged psychological warfare by this point. It was dubbed the decade's hip-hop heartache by blogs. Documentaries were created by YouTubers. The old T.I. interviews that praised Tiny have been re-edited with depressing music and betrayal captions. They also dragged their children into the carnival of criticism, something that both sides pleaded in public to halt. However, it was too late. The internet never stops biting once it detects blood. Next followed the infamous Floyd's folder, a USB disk allegedly holding screenshots of text messages exchanged between Tiny and Mayweather over a 7-year period was obtained by a gossip website. While some of the texts were nice, others included conversations about flights, cryptic aliases, and intimate jokes that were almost incriminating. According to one of the purported messages, "You're my peace when everything else is loud." Millions of people were devastated by that line alone, and it gave tabloids their ideal headline. Although T.I. never publicly acknowledged the authenticity of the texts, he also didn't refute them. He instead shared a mysterious black and white picture with the simple caption, "Sometimes the ones you love the most are the ones sent to break you." In one day, it had 2 million likes. People connected to both camps claimed that behind the scenes, there were secret calls, NDAs, settlements, and quiet attempts to close the book. However, everything began to quiet down. The fire was rekindled by another anonymous drop.